Hey everybody, this is Freddie Cohen of ESPN Radio. When I'm not talking about breaking news or breaking news on ESPN Radio, I'm always a fan and listening to the Detroit Sports Podcast, and so should you.
All I want to know is if you got your popcorn ready. Do you got your popcorn ready?
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
I said, are you strong? They said, I'm strong if you strong. And I said, we strong then.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Darren McCarty gets his shots in at Claude Lemieux. And look who came all the way out to try to help. Patrick Waugh. Oh, my goodness.
You are listening to the Doc and Jock Show on the Detroit Sports Podcast.
DetroitSportsPodcast.com presents to you the Doc and Jock Sports Podcast. I am the Doc, John McAroon. Joining me is my favorite co-host, my cousin, Adam the Jock Strozinski. What's up, cuz?
What's up, cuz?
Episode 89, about to kick off. Lots to get to, a lot of great topics. We picked a perfect time to drop this podcast, and we got a lot to get to. But first, here at the podcast, we want to give a lot of thanks to people that help us do our thing, that help us stay on the air. We like to say thanks to some new fans who are like, I'm really excited to download your podcast every week. A new fan, Nick, at All American Nick on Twitter, found us recently and was like, I love you guys' show. You guys are hilarious. I can't wait to download your guys' podcast this Thursday. So we just want to give a shout out to Nick at All American Nick on Twitter. We want to give thanks, obviously, to Fanatic U. FanaticU.com. They have just been showering us with t-shirts and giveaways so that we can give away free items to our fans. They've helped increase and raise our awareness, so we want to thank the guys at Fanatic U. Always give thanks to the guys at Detroit Sports Nation. We just want to give thanks to those that help us do our thing. It's an exciting time here at the podcast. We're starting to grow at a nice and steady pace, and I'm all around thrilled with how things are going.
Oh, yeah, most definitely, man. Best time, too, for sports. Wings coming off a great victory in Game 3. Looked outstanding, played incredible. You got the Tigers sitting there taking on the Yankees. Awesome. All kinds of crazy things going on with the NBA. Other things going on in the MLB. It just great time for sports. Great time for this podcast. And want to send a special shout out to everybody who's, like you said, helping us grow, helping us get this out there, having people be entertained and listen to us and just kind of listen to their products. I mean, because it's really what kind of helps fuel this, keeps us going, is their products. So thank you to all of our sponsors, and thank you to all of you people out there listening to us.
Yeah, and the great thing is you did a recent report, and we've gotten several downloads overseas. So thank you to those who are listening, our fans overseas, and thank you to our servicemen and women who download this podcast and get their Detroit sports fix from the internet. It's a great thing, and we're happy to just be a small part of your entertainment. You ready to kick this bad boy off? We got a lot of good stuff. Stay tuned on this podcast.
Dude, I'm salivating right now. I want to talk wings. I want to talk wings like right now. Like, lay out the show. Let's get right into wings, all right? Let's do it.
Oh, man, great stuff. A lot of people thought, and Jude, it was just one loss, Game 2. I know that if you looked at how the Red Wings were playing, Tampa Bay was out-hustling us. They were outplaying us. But that was at Tampa Bay. The Red Wings did what they had to do. They got the split. They came home and handled their business in Game 3 in a dominating fashion. It was good stuff all around. A key factor was scoring first in Game 3. Once the Red Wings got on the board with that Datsuk deflection, then the Red Wings had great momentum, and they played a solid defensive game. They played much better in Game 3. An interesting point was the return of Justin Abdelkader. He provided a great presence for the locker room. He had a spark, and it's really quite surprising that a player like Justin Abdelkader is a guy that, when he's absent, this team struggles. And with his return, the Red Wings played a lot better. Petr Mrazek, second shutout versus Tampa Bay. unbelievable stuff. He's proving everyone that thought that he would do a great job correct. And the Red Wings played a great game to take a 2-1 series lead. And when you look at it, 67% of the time in an NHL series, the winner of Game 3 goes on to win the series. And this series so far has gone like I've predicted. Do what you got to do. You handle your business. You come home. The JLA crowd, all credit, all kudos to them. They were ready from the jump. They were active. And once the Red Wings got their first goal, they were off and running. A great Game 3 performance. I'm so excited for tonight's game. I think we can take a stranglehold with one more great performance.
How many octopi hit the ice on Tuesday night? I counted at least 4, maybe 5 of them. It was incredible. But was this the same team that played Game 3 that played Games 1 and 2? I mean, they look completely different. I know the Wings got a win in Game 1, but they look like crap. And then they hardly showed up in Game 2, even though I know that they said that they played much better in Game 2. Yeah, they were able to generate a little bit more offense, but they still look sluggish. They looked bad out there. They looked out of position. Game 3 was night and day from the first 2 games of this series. I mean, the Wings came out, they out-hit them, they had more takeaways, and I really think those are the 2 things that were the big difference, the hits and the takeaways. I mean, they sat there and almost out-hit them 2-1, and they had 7 more takeaways than Tampa Bay did. On top of it, the penalty kill really helped ground the Lightning and shut them down. You had a 5-on-3 at a key stage in this game, and the Wings sat there and just took full advantage of Tampa Bay and didn't allow many shots and sat there and killed it off supremely. They looked outstanding. And you're right, Justin Abdelkader, all credit due to that young fellow. That guy makes a world of difference. You know, you've seen it during the regular season. He's having a breakout year. The guy's looking incredible, playing great, gets hurt late in the season, goes down, misses the first 2 games, and boy, when he comes back in the 3rd game, not only does he play nasty and play with an edge, the guy is sitting there. He's productive on the point sheet. He got an assist, a really nice assist on Sheahan's goal. On top of that, when things have to be mucked up and somebody has to be held accountable because Petr Mrazek gets tripped up at the top of his crease, who's the first guy in there? That's right, it's J.A. all day long. J.A.'s in there, and he's sitting there throwing blows, throwing haymakers. On top of it, he's nasty. He plays with an edge. I think he was a huge difference maker in Game 3. Having that power forward, somebody who can go out there and bang with the big bodies and sit there and get pucks on net and help create shots and open up the ice for the other players, incredible.
Let me tell you what happens naturally, psychologically for athletes.
Do tell. Please do tell.
After Game 1,
I love when we do these. When you sit there and you break everybody down mentally.
The Wings saw that, okay, Petr Mrazek can make some saves. He stopped 44 shots. So in Game 2, what happened? They forgot to play defense. And you quickly realize, just like that if you don't play defense, the puck's going to end up in the back of your net. So they tightened it up real quick. They realized, oh my gosh, we're really literally hanging out Petr Mrazek, our rookie goaltender. We have to step up. Coach Babcock decides, you know what, let me switch out Marchenko for Brendan Smith. And a move that some people were like, I'm not really sure.
He had a really nice game, though.
He had a nice game, and beforehand he said, listen, I have to make the most of my opportunity, and I have to prove Coach Babcock right and keep my spot in the lineup. And that's what you needed, a strong defensive effort. You got to remember, Tampa Bay is a very high-scoring team with the potential to do a lot of damage. But also, too, in the home environment, we did get a lot of luck. Tampa Bay rang the goalpost several times. A lot of pucks had a potential to get into the back of the net. Ping! And they just did not capitalize on their opportunities. Once the Red Wings scored first, the game was dictated by the Red Wings, and we played more of our game. The puck was a little bit more in their end. We got to see our puck possession. We got to see the lines rolling, and we played our brand of Red Wing hockey. And that's going to be the key. I think the Red Wings need that swagger. They need to get back to playing strong, solid defense. The penalty kill is outrageous right now. We got to keep that up. Petr Mrazek is really impressive, and it's really a joy to watch a young goaltender, probably the future goaltender of the Red Wings, do some things. I mean, that breakaway from Boyle, classic. I mean, he basically stood tall, and once Boyle went in, you kind of had a feeling Mrazek has a chance. I didn't automatically think, Boyle's on the breakaway, it's a goal. I thought, okay, if Mrazek positions himself well, he's going to make the save. So the luck went our way, and I just think that if we bear down on defense even more, get the puck out, keep it simple, we have a chance to take a stranglehold in this series.
That's where I want to go. That's what I want to talk about. Their defense is the weak link in this team. That is the the trap that is hanging around the ankle of this team right now. Defense, I was watching the game, and at numerous points, I was just screaming at my TV, high and hard, high and hard. All you have to do is take the puck and whip it around the top of the glass, high and hard, to get it out of your zone. Whether you're on a penalty kill or you're just trying to buy some time and reset yourself. And they do this thing where they sit there and try to shuffle the puck out just to get it over the line. No, go high and hard, get it out of your zone, clear your zone, and then reset. All right? They didn't do that. And that mean they got lucky they didn't get burned. And you're talking about the Boyle breakaway. I mean, this is now the third game in a row where they've given up these huge breakaways to guys. And luckily, Petr Mrazek was able to hang in there, make the save, and get his shutout and look outstanding. But this defense isn't doing him any benefits. They're just hanging him out to dry. And there was another breakaway in that game that ended up resulting in a Cronwall penalty that could have ended up in a penalty shot. Thankfully, Cronwall just kind of tugged him enough and let him regain his feet so he could get his shot off, so it didn't result in a penalty shot. But still, this defense has to tighten up. Whether it be Cronwall, whether it be Dan DeKaiser, who seems to have made friends with whoever's running the penalty box because he's just been in there all day long. Ericsson's just grabbing guys' jerseys, grabbing their sticks. I don't know if they're injured or they're tired or they're just reaching and it's just desperation. Whatever it is, that defense has to tighten up, has to play better, and I think that's going to be a major key rolling into Game 4 here tonight. Defense has to be much more solid. I know you beat them 3-0 in game 3, but that defense has to show up because Tampa Bay is going to come out with some fire tonight.
Yeah, and the reason why the Red Wings are holding so much is because Tampa's slightly bigger, faster.
So much faster.
Yeah, you can. It's pretty obvious.
You can see.
Yeah, and so what the Red Wings have to do is they have to match their intensity from the get-go. They have to play a solid game. I mean, you're not going to play your B game versus Tampa Bay and walk away with a victory. They can get out quickly to a 2-0 lead. So in Game 4, I just think that the most important thing is going to be score first. I just think this is one of those games where the Red Wings could, if they get out to a 1-0 lead, they could also let Tampa Bay hang around. So it's going to be one of those games where you got to look at it like an elimination game. Throw everything at Bishop, who is a little bit shaky again. And
does this surprise you for that team being as good as they were all season long, that he's looked as bad as he's looked in their 2 losses? I mean, he's looked horrible.
Experience goes a long way.
In these 2 losses.
Yeah, experience goes a long way. And a guy who hasn't been in this position before kind of doesn't know how to handle things. And that's why the Bishop Mrazek matchup is great in that we drew Tampa Bay in the first round. Had we drew an experienced goaltender, this might be a different situation. So we kind of got lucky in drawing a rookie goaltender, and we can do some things with him. He obviously looks a little bit shaky and weary in terms of handling the puck. He's given up some goals that most goaltenders may not give up. So we have a chance to pepper him and to continue to play a solid brand of hockey. So let me ask you this. With Abdelkader returning, that sent Weiss out of the lineup, right?
Yes.
He was the one that was, okay.
Yep, so Weiss was benched.
And as he should have been. Mm-hmm. I just think this team is much better with Abdelkader, with Helm.
It's much faster with him. Yeah. And it's not saying anything really negative against Weiss. Weiss just doesn't have the speed that a guy like Abdelkader brings. And the team plays, the way Babcock's able to shuffle the lines around with Abdelkader in there, it just frees everybody up and opens everything up line-wise and on the ice much more. Everybody seems to play more their natural position and seems to play much more comfortably out there.
Yeah, and he brings that level of nastiness that you need in a playoff series. I mean, look how the game kind of picked up once Mrazek got tripped by number 13 Paquette, I believe. I mean, Abdelkader quickly rushed to Mrazek's defense, got into that fight, and that's the kind of thing you need as a team. And with a heavy European-laden team, those guys aren't really interested in mucking it up. They're interested in keeping the puck. They're not really interested in slamming into the guys. So a guy like
you just go into the cliche machine for this one.
You have to, because
you want to roll 4 and get bigger along the blue line too.
I think you need some more American, Canadian grinders out there.
There we go.
The European guys, I mean, they're nice. They're
doing a show with the Doc or with Don Cherry? Which one?
Don
the Jock Cherry. Don the Doc Cherry.
Don the Doc Cherry is saying, listen, the Red Wings have to. Man, this is the Eastern Conference. This conference is no joke. You are not going to roll into the Eastern Conference and play the European style hockey and get far. Abdelkader came back, and you could see the spark. He was finishing checks, and he was a spark that helped the Red Wings play in a different brand of hockey. You've seen it. So they're going to need to continue that, and if they score first, I think we have a strong chance of winning tonight's game. Going back to Tampa Bay, up 3-1 would be huge. It would be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I have a good feeling, but this could be one of those games that goes to overtime, 1-1, and who's going to step up? Sheehan, Tatar, Nyquist. Where's Nyquist been? I mean, he's making plays. He's on the ice quite a bit, but I think the good thing is we're up 2-1, and we can still sit here and say these guys can do more.
Mm-hmm.
They can do more. So I'm excited to see how this Game 4 shakes out.
Yeah, you know what? Going into this game tonight, I think it has to be a lot of the same things that took place on Tuesday night's game. I think they've got to hit them harder, hit them more. I think they've got to force some takeaways in their defensive zone. And a lot like you said, I think you just got to throw everything you got at Ben Bishop. Ben Bishop hasn't really instilled any confidence in me. At certain points, he looks like he's got giant holes in his game, whether it be between his legs, whether it be him sliding out of position and leaving parts of the net wide open. Ben Bishop hasn't done anything in my heart of hearts to make me fear him. I don't think he is the next best coming of a goaltender ever. You know, I don't see him donning a Patrick Waugh cape at any time here. I think this team has the potential to sit there and take a stranglehold on this series. And like you said, we're not getting a ton of scoring from those secondary and third-hand names that we're used to getting, right? It was nice to see Sheehan get his first, but where's a guy like Yurko? Where is Nyquist? You know what I'm saying? It seems to be a lot of the same names coming up. It's always Datsyuk. You know, Abdelkader's getting on the score sheet. Zetterberg was helpful in game 3, which was nice because he was kind of a ghost in the first 2 games. But where's everybody else? Where's the next best thing at, you know? I think it'll be interesting if we can get some production from one of those second or third tier names and get them on the score sheet. This series might be over.
Yeah, and a key moment, a great thing to watch when you watch the game and you watch during the broadcast is, you know, during the intermissions, they kind of break down. They broke down Petr Mrazek and his adjustments between game 2 and game 3. His positioning was better.
Looks so much better, doesn't he? More confident.
And that's what you want to see. You want to see a guy that learns from his mistakes, that quickly gets into the video bay and looks, okay, boom, I got to be here. And when in the same situation, when the same shot comes, boom, you scoop up the puck. That's the difference.
Do you feel like that's kind of been his MO the later half of the season? He plays really good one game, plays like complete garbage the next game, comes back and plays even better that third game. And now game 4, he's probably going to, you know, just look like a pile of turds just sitting there in the goal crease.
You got to pump the brakes. You can't bash my boy Mrazek for game 2.
I'm asking the question, man.
And I'm repeating what you said.
This is what I've seen.
He was left out to dry in game 2.
He was.
The majority of the goals were not his fault. I mean, the defense basically said, okay, try to stop the shot at point blank range and handle your business.
It felt like it was bullfighting at its worst. Like, ole, just come on in.
Right. So, no, but I do, to your question, he does learn from his mistakes. The reason why a lot of people were championing, hey, play Mrazek, is that he's got a lot of potential. You see it. I mean, in the minor leagues, yes, it's totally different than the NHL, but there were significant streaks of him not allowing goals. And he's already gone through the playoff series, and he has the great temperament. Even keel, not too rah-rah. You know, of course, if someone's going to get in his crease and knock him down, he's going to be upset. But in between games, he's just very even keel. He's got the perfect temperament you need as a goaltender, and that's why I would have kept him in game 2. You get shelled, you get shelled. I don't think you risk breaking his confidence. This guy obviously has a lot of confidence, and he's got a lot of natural talent. And I'm glad he's in between the pipes because he has a chance, if the defense breaks down, to be that last line of defense, and you have that confidence. With Jimmy Howard, it's just the way it is. So if I'm feeling that way, imagine what the players are feeling. They're going to be respectful in the media and tell us, oh, Jimmy's our guy, but you can tell the difference. When he gives up a bad goal, it's deflating. I mean, I sat there at the game versus San Jose. He gave up a goal in 19 seconds, and literally it was like 19,000 balloons were popped all at the same time on his birthday. It's one of those things where you have a guy, you have a guy who has supreme talent, use him, utilize him, and now he's getting key playoff experience, win or lose. You know, I don't see Mrazek costing us a game, but he's gaining the valuable experience now at 23 years of age, and this is going to take us well into the future, and this experience is going to be invaluable. Perfect choice by Coach Babcock. I'm glad he made it, and right now we're sitting pretty. 2-1, game 4 tonight. The fans of the JLA are going to bring the noise. Hell yeah, man, we're going to take this shit. I truly believe it.
Real quick, before the playoffs even started, did you think that you would see the day that Luke Glendening, talking about that second and third tier scoring, a guy like Luke Glendening would be tied for the leading goals on this team? I never in a million years. I mean, I know the guy's fierce on his backhand. God forbid that guy shoot on his forehand. Goodness grief, man. What a find, right? I mean, not even so much a find, but just being able to play the guy and get some production out of him. Incredible. Love it. Good old Michigan product. Oh, yeah. U of M, baby.
Is that where he's from?
Yeah, I believe he went to U of M.
You know it then. Hey, listen, this Red Wing team, and that's why I'm really surprised, out of 12 experts from ESPN, not one would have picked the Red Wings. You got to at least have one guy that says, okay, this team has more experience. They potentially have a goaltender that could get hot. 12 experts all picking Tampa Bay. Come on now, you did us dirty, ESPN. And I hope that this team can win to prove everybody wrong and shut them up. I think that we're going to do it. I hope the next podcast we're breaking down the next series. I think we have more than a 60% chance of taking down this series. Exciting time. Great start to the series since our last podcast.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think, you know what, the Wings here might prove me wrong. I said Lightning in 6.
No, you said Lightning in 7, didn't you?
Did I say 7?
I think you said Lightning in 7.
6 or 7. So I picked the Lightning no matter what. Wings might win this in 5, maybe 6. Who knows? If they keep playing the way they're playing, it's full steam ahead, man.
All right, stay with us. After the break, we're going to talk more about the Red Wings. Julius Porter at the Honolulu Blue on Twitter from the Detroit Sports Nation wrote a great article that got significant traction defending Detroit when Tampa Bay took cheap shots. We're going to talk to him about his article. We're going to talk to him about the Wings series, get to know him a little bit better, and also sprinkle in some Lions. The schedule came out earlier this week, and we have to ask a lot of interesting questions because that schedule was eye-opening. We'll talk to him regarding the Wings and more after the break. Doc and Jock, episode 89, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. If you're a fan of Michigan, then you have to check out UofMDiehards.com. Check them out on Twitter. Check out their Facebook page. They are a page that's dedicated to all things University of Michigan. They follow every game. They follow recruits. They have great interviews. UofMDiehards.com. Doc and Jock, check out that website quite a bit. If you're a fan of Michigan, there's no better website to check out than UofMDiehards.com.
I'm go blue, baby.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your support. Lots of ways to support us here at the podcast. If you like what you're listening to, if you enjoy the podcast, if you want us to continue to provide great content every Monday and Thursday, if you want us to continue to take phone calls, just go to our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Click through those banner links. Lots of great online deals. I know everybody that's listening likes to save money. DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Click through those banner links, bookmark them, and every time you shop online, nothing extra happens. You get charged no more money. But when you shop online through DetroitSportsPodcast.com, they kick us back a little something, and we can continue to provide great content. DetroitSportsPodcast.com. We greatly appreciate it. Yes, sir.
You ain't gotta say too much. Hate when you say that I play too much. When I get too close, I'ma touch that subject. I could read your body, enough said. Quit all that yapping, need less talk and a little more action. Yeah, now girl, keep it G, know you speak a little freak, I can hear it in your accent. Said, tell me, can you understand my language? If you try and ride, just stay in my lane. There's no other way to explain it.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Doc and Jock Sports Podcast, episode 89. Julius Porter from the Detroit Sports Nation, great writer. Last week wrote a great piece defending Detroit when the Tampa Bay Lightning Twitter account took a cheap shot at Detroit. Julius Porter wrote a great article in rebuttal, and he now joins us on the Detroit Sports Podcast. Julius, how are you?
I'm not bad. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. Let's start with talking about your article. Last week, prior to the Detroit Red Wings Tampa Bay series, Tampa Bay kind of took a cheap shot at Detroit, and you came right back with a rebuttal. Talk about the reaction and why you wrote that particular article on DetroitSportsNation.com.
Yeah, well, that article origins pretty much stemmed from like the last few months. I've just seen a lot of media personalities starting to take little cheap shots at Detroit. Doug Gottlieb took one. The Minnesota Twins announcer, he took one. And then this whole Tampa Bay thing, they wouldn't sell tickets to out-of-state residents. And then when the original article came out, I think his name was Brendan Burns, Tampa Bay Lightning beat writer. I asked the Red Wings editor for Detroit Sports Nation, Jeff Deacon. I know you guys know him, but I pretty much begged him to write a response article to that because I just could not take it anymore. And so when I got home from work, I got on the computer and I did the best I could at defending the city.
Excellent, yeah, and by all accounts, it was a very popular article. What was the response across the internet? And Jeff kind of told me it went viral?
It did. It was actually my biggest article today. I've only been writing for about the past year. I started off small time blogging, and Detroit Sports Nation, they found me, gave me a shot. So it was my biggest article thus far. It got tons of Twitter retweets, tons of positive reaction from Detroiters and Red Wings fans alike. It was really great.
Yeah, and your biggest accomplishment, you made it on to the DocNJock podcast. My man.
Oh yeah,
good job.
definitely.
All right, let's get into it. The Red Wings dominated Game 3 versus Tampa Bay. Petr Mrazek played well. The return of Justin Abdelkader was really impactful for the Red Wings. You could just see a difference in their play. What was your reaction to the Red Wings' 3-0 victory in Game 3 to take a 2-1 series lead?
Well, I'm still coming off that Red Wings high from the past hour, because that was nostalgic Red Wings playoff. Yeah, Mrazek, player of the game by far, stopped 22 shots. It was amazing. He played great. The defense, they've been taking a lot in the playoffs so far, deservingly so. But I thought they stepped it up a little bit. The veterans, Zetterberg, Batsuk, they showed up, definitely showed their presence. The power play offense, which dominated throughout the regular season, they definitely showed up. I just thought it was a well-rounded performance. I think it shushed a lot of doubt I've been hearing over radio and TV about the Red Wings, saying they're going to get, it's going to be over in 5. The Tampa Bay is way more talented. And I thought Tampa Bay, they played a pretty decent game. They do have the better skaters. They probably are slightly more talented. But the Red Wings' effort today was just too much.
Yeah, and Justin Abdelkader set up that beautiful goal by Sheehan. Petr Mrazek played very well. He stopped that breakaway on Boyle. It was a great save. And talk about your reaction to Mike Babcock starting Mrazek in these playoffs, and do you think that the Mrazek choice was the right choice over Jimmy Howard, who had more playoff experience?
In the beginning of the playoffs, I found it a little iffy about Mrazek starting over Howard, but this kid Petr Mrazek, I like to call him Peter Puck Eater. He is very talented, very young. He's never lost a game after being pulled from a game. That lets you know how Babcock he's making the right decisions with his young goalie. And Petr Mrazek was definitely excellent in this game. Mike Babcock turned my decision around on that. Mrazek is the right choice. He's playing outstanding right now.
You could just see that the Red Wings played better under him. They were more confident. He makes the key saves. And when Jimmy Howard was in there, whether it was due to injury or a mental block due to lack of confidence, he just didn't have it. And so I recognized early on, let's just go with Mrazek. He's young. And I was championing the position of, hey, just play the guy, even if he gives up 4 or 5 goals. By all accounts, the Red Wings are probably not going to win the Stanley Cup. Give this guy some experience. He has that spark. He's got a lot of potential, and he's showing it now. And the Red Wings are up 2-1.
Definitely. Mrazek, he's playing outstanding puck right now, and I mean, he's young. That's the thing. He's only 23 years old. He is very young. This is great experience. Like you said, the Red Wings probably aren't going to win the Stanley Cup. But going forward, you've got to be excited about who's keeping goal for the Red Wings nowadays.
So before the series started, how did you see things shaking out? Did you think that the Red Wings were going to lose in 6 or 7? Or before the series started, what were you thinking about how the series was going to shake out?
My initial reaction to the Red Wings drawing the Lightning were I picked the Lightning in 7. Like I said, I knew the Lightning, they're slightly more talented than the Red Wings. They play better defense. They're bigger. They're faster. They skate better. But who's minding their goal? Blaine Bishop, their young goalie. I thought that the Bishop versus Mrazek matchup was a slight advantage to the Red Wings, so I had them going a little further in this series. And right now, Game 3 really got me thinking about this series, and I really, really believe the Red Wings have a legit chance. If they can pull this Game 4 out of the bag, I think the Red Wings are going to take this, and they're going to advance to the next round.
Yeah, going into the series, you had the similar opinion to Jock. He had Tampa Bay winning in 7 games. And I said, you know what, the way I see this series shaking out was I had them splitting in Tampa Bay. I had the Red Wings winning both games 3 and 4. Just based on how they played the last time at the Joe, Tampa Bay looked like they struggled at Joe Louis Arena. And then I had Tampa Bay winning Game 5, and then the Wings coming home and dominating Game 6. So I hope I'm correct and the Wings win, but this is a good series. I mean, right now, early on, Tampa Bay dominated the first 2 games with a lot of possession in our zone. But Game 3, you've seen, if the Red Wings can, exert their will, play a lot more in Tampa Bay's zone, we have as good a chance as any.
And definitely what it looked like early on is the Red Wings kept the Lightning out of the box way less than they have been, and the Red Wings attacked the box way more than they have. So, I mean, that seems to be the winning antidote, and if they can keep that up, it looks like your prediction might be the right one.
Now, I'm interested to get your opinion. Why do you think, across the board, all of the experts predicted that the Wings were going to lose? I mean, I think at ESPN, 12 out of 12 analysts said Tampa Bay. Not one person thought that the Red Wings was going to win. It was very odd from ESPN, but a lot of the experts picked Tampa Bay.
That's true, and I noticed that. I also noticed that a lot of the big-time radio personalities, TV personalities around Detroit also picked Tampa Bay. I just think at the end of the day, they were looking at straight off the paper, straight talent-wise, and that's something the talent aspect is what pushed the decision that way. But us Detroit fans, we know that it's not all talent. There's effort, there's passion, especially in Detroit. And that's the reason I wrote the article I wrote with so much passion, because I know that it takes more than talent to win Stanley Cups, and I've seen that growing up in Detroit.
Julius Porter, DetroitSportsNation.com writer, kind enough to join us, give us his few minutes recapping the Red Wings game. Now, Julius, I know if you're a fan of Detroit sports that you were definitely peeking in on the NFL schedule release, and oh my goodness, I mean, that schedule, I'm trying. Now, I'm a pessimist. I've been through a lot with my Lions, and I'm on the side now of being a little bit more pessimistic and edgy. I don't like, when that schedule came out, my eyes bugged out. I was like, are you kidding me? That schedule looks brutal. What was your initial reaction when that NFL schedule came out for the Lions?
It was quite similar to yours. I thought total brutality. The 3 out of the first games are on the road. I mean, we got at Seattle, which is a key game for the Lions. The schedule in total is just brutal, but I'm happy that we don't have to end the season at Lambeau like many of the previous years. This is a chance for the Lions to show us, they're ready. They're a playoff team. Last year wasn't a fluke. Yeah, I'm still excited about the season. The schedule is just brutal, though, just brutal. This NFL draft coming up for the Lions, and I'm going to write an article about it later this week. It's probably the most important NFL draft in Lions history. And as you can see by the schedule, it's not going to be an easy road.
How confident are you that the Lions management will scour the NFL draft, get their draft board right, and pick the right guy come next weekend's draft?
Confident? I don't know if that's the word. I'm hoping. Martin Mayhew, Tom Luan, they have an okay track record in the draft, but they can't have an okay showing in this year's draft. They must have hits with bullets. Their first and second round picks must be prospective starters and make an impact right away if they want any chance, because this offseason they have not made a lot of moves outside of Lodinata. This Lions front office really has to go to work and pick the right picks that's going to make a big impact for this team if they want any chance of getting past the Packers and winning the division or getting past the wild card round for the first time in forever.
All right, Julius, we'll get you out of here on this. Whenever we bring up the topic of the Lions, a lot of people will say, okay, it all hinges upon how successful Matthew Stafford is going to be. We've watched him now for several seasons and no playoff wins. But yet, whenever we talk about it on our Twitter page at Detroit Podcast, a lot of Stafford apologists just come out of the woodworks and they're like, let's have hope, let's have hope. He's the best guy that the Lions have ever had. Whereas I'm taking a firm stand and saying, listen, by now, this guy that you've given an extension to needs to produce and needs to get at least a playoff win. Come on now, let's raise our expectations. Where do you stand on Matthew Stafford, his potential, and are you still in his corner as the guy leading this Detroit Lions team to the promised land?
I'm definitely leaning more towards your side with this one. Matthew Stafford, he's getting paid like one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and he needs to play and produce like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He puts up great numbers, but not having a win on the road against a winning team, that's unacceptable. Not winning a playoff game in Detroit as yet, that's unacceptable. He's getting paid too much money. I'm leaning way more towards your side with this one. Matthew Stafford has to lead this team to Lions promised land, a playoff win, a division title. by I said a Super Bowl. You know, this Matthew Stafford has to produce. I give him one more year. I give him one more year. You know, no shows this year, digresses, you know, takes a step back, or, you know, just leads the team to a mediocre season. I think the Lions need to take a good look at what they're going to be and how they're going to handle the quarterback situation in the future. Matthew Stafford has all the talent in the world. I'm confident he can, you know, do it. But does he have the mentality to do it? We'll see.
Julius Porter, thank you so much for giving us a few minutes. Where can our audience find you on the internet, on Facebook, Twitter? Tell our audience where they can get a hold of you and read your great articles.
You can find me on Twitter at the Honolulu Blue. You can find me on Facebook. I'm a writer for Detroit Sports Nation. It's a great site, up-and-coming site, great writers, great editors, great everything. And I look forward to being on again. I love you guys' show. Keep it up. And thanks for having me. This is my first time on any kind of radio, any kind of podcast. I really appreciate the opportunity.
You did a good job, man. You held your own, and yeah, definitely. Anyone that has a passion for sports and loves and is crazy about sports as much as Doc and Jock always have an open invitation. So you're more than welcome. Hit me up, and you're always welcome to come on the Doc and Jock Sports Podcast. Thanks, Julius. All right, that was Julius Porter. Great guy, and if you check his Twitter page at the Honolulu Blue, he's a guy that served his country. We here at Doc and Jock greatly appreciate those who are in the service, and he's a great writer, up-and-coming writer over there at the Detroit Sports Nation. I'm glad they reached out and said, hey, talk to Julius, and he's a good guy. Hopefully he has a strong presence here on the podcast. Good stuff. Check out his work, and check out our friends at the Detroit Sports Nation, DetroitSportsNation.com. You know it, cuz. All right, you ready to roll into some Jock Jams?
I've been waiting for this for like 4 weeks. Let's go.
We got lots to get to. The Doc scoured the sporting landscape for the great questions to pick your brain about, and I know you're ready to deliver. So this is what we call Jock Jams. The Tigers, great start to the season. Winners of 4 straight series, trying to pick up that 5th series, right in the middle of a series versus the New York Yankees. And lots of great storylines. I mean, of course, the bullpen struggled in the second game versus the Yankees, but we're sitting with a lot of wins. We're well above 500. A couple things, though, here at Doc and Jock, we definitely don't want to rain on the parade, but we want to talk about some things that are a little bit concerning, not involving the bullpen, because we know that is an issue unto itself. But Anibal Sanchez's start to the season has been a little bit shaky, to say the least. 2 straight starts where he hasn't pitched effectively at all. So, cuz, how concerned should us Tigers fans be with arguably our number 2 starter, Anibal Sanchez?
I'm super concerned. I don't know what your concern level is, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm somewhere right around a 15 right now. I was counting on this guy to come in and fulfill that role that Justin Verlander was supposed to take and be a solid shutdown guy, be that guy who backs up David Price. If David Price has a bad game or has an off game, Anibal Sanchez comes in, gives you 7, gives you 8 innings, and looks solid. He hasn't been able to do that in the last 2 games. He's looked like complete garbage. He's been a home run machine. It looks like he's throwing batting practice out there. You realize last year he gave up all of 4 home runs? This guy is just sitting there letting the long ball just get launched all over Comerica and anywhere else that they're playing. So I'm floored by this, because going in, I was touting and I was praising this guy super hardcore, talking about how he's going to be the next best thing since sliced bread. You know what I'm saying? And he hasn't looked like it. He's got an overinflated ERA. I love that drop. He's got an overinflated ERA. He looks awful. He's playing like crap. It just, I don't know what this guy's doing. I don't know if this is all in his head, if this is an issue with his arm slot, if this is just an issue that he's trying to work through right now. I mean, he's had 16 innings pitched, and he's right there with a strikeout per inning, but his ERA is astronomical. His ERA is unbelievable. It's what, like over 7 right now? Insane, dude. You can't be giving up 7 runs in a game. You just can't do it.
Oh, my God.
So hopefully he gets it figured out. He's playing against the Yankees today. Hopefully he looks a lot better, and hopefully just, 2 low points in the season, those 2 games that he pitched. But I'm very nervous. What I'm not nervous about, though, is we don't have to worry about Joe Nathan for a little bit. That makes me happy.
No, well, I don't want to rain on your parade, but rumors have come out that tomorrow, Friday, Joe Nathan could be back with this with the team. No, am I wrong?
You're wrong. He hurt his elbow.
He hurt his elbow again?
He was down in Toledo.
Yes. I did not hear that.
Yeah, he was down in Toledo. He was 10 pitches in. He had 2 outs already, and hurt his elbow.
So, I don't want to celebrate a man's injury, but that's some great news. I thought I was going to be like, cuz I hate to break it to you, but because I was like, oh, man, Friday, we're right in the middle of he hurt his elbow.
Hurt his elbow, dude. He might be done for a while.
Imagine a team that's paying 2 guys $35 million plus not to pitch in Verlander and Joe Nathan. But
that's all right, dude. I don't care. Joe Nathan, just go sit somewhere. Go collect dust, dude. Go collect dust.
Yeah, no, I hope things turn out, though, because Simon and Green have picked up the slack.
Those guys have been amazing. Yes. I like those guys.
Sanchez, pick up the slack, bro. What's going on? All right, switching gears. Another epic rant to talk about. I wish I scoured the internet for the unedited version, but the media won't release it. Cincinnati Reds manager just went off on the media earlier this week in a tirade that went off with a tirade that included 77 F-bombs to the local media. And it just goes to show you that when a team is struggling and you get a manager who's under the hot seat a little bit, Brian Price just laid into the media. We'll let you have a listen of the edited version of what he delivered to a simple question about a guy that was, on the DL, and they're asking, where's he been for the last couple of weeks?
I don't get it. I don't get why it's got to be this way. Has it always been this way, where we just tell everybody everything? So every opponent that we have has to know exactly what we have, which relievers are available, which guys are here and which guys aren't here, when they can play, what they can do. It's
fucking Doc and Jock.
It's certainly
stupid ass questions.
Business.
Fucking Doc and Jock.
Deal with this bullshit. I'd like to talk, and I have spoken as candidly as I can with you people. If that's not good enough, I won't say a fucking thing. I'll go yes sir, no sir, and I can do that. But I've been as candid as I can be about this team and our players, and we got to deal with this. Every team that we play has to know every guy that's here and what they can and can't do. Me. It's a disgrace.
Doc and Jock.
I'm sick of this. It's hard enough to win here to have every opponent know exactly what the we bring to the table every day. I don't like it. That's what I'm saying. Make it very clear. I don't like the way that this is going at all. I don't like it. I don't think you guys need.
Well, that was just a little clip of his tirade. I mean, what are you going to do? The
77 F-bombs.
Right there, man. And very angry, obviously. So I'm just asking, amongst the epic rants that you've heard in the annals of time in the YouTube era, where does this rant rank among the all-time great rants that you've heard?
Based purely on the fact that he said the F word 77 times, this moves him into number 2 all time.
Number 2?
Number 2. And the reason why number 2 is because he didn't throw anything. He didn't actually throw a tantrum. He just kind of went off, which is great. But if you have a chance to go on YouTube and type in Phil Wellman. Phil Wellman is a minor league baseball coach, or was a minor league baseball coach for the Atlanta Braves. He loses his complete mind on an umpire during a minor league baseball game. Like, he picks up bases, throws dirt, throws his hat. Darn near takes his entire uniform off and strips running around the bases. He just loses his mind. And because of that, he will be my number 1. But Brian Price, you, sir, for your laden F-bomb rant, you get number 2. So yeah, dude, epic.
Good stuff, man. Just maybe one day we can get the unedited version that's good. But I like that. I think we can get some good drops for their Motor City rant, for sure, out of that clip. Good stuff. The Pistons ended their NBA season well under 500, missed the playoffs for the 6th consecutive season. First time ever that our coach, Stan Van Gundy, has missed the playoffs. And it's one of those things where the season it had its potentials, it had its ups and downs, but in the end, it was a failure of a season. So now we look to the future of this team, and we look to not the coach, Stan Van Gundy, but the man who's in the front office. The president of basketball operations, Stan Van Gundy, is going to have to scour the talent and look for somebody in free agency, in the draft, that can help rebuild this team. And a lot of talk around the circles, and based on what we've been watching in the NBA playoffs, revolves around a homegrown guy that's out there playing in Golden State. Draymond Green is...
That's your boy.
He, from Michigan State, is really playing well, because he is a significant cog in that piece out there at Golden State, and that's why they're a strong candidate to win the entire NBA, to win the championship. But now, he's in a situation where, he's a restricted free agent. Golden State can match an offer, But a lot of talk now is people are saying this guy could garner. I'm surprised, but a lot of talk has come out that Draymond Green could be an NBA max player. Should the Detroit Pistons shower one of the prizes of this year's free agency, Draymond Green, with max dollars to get him here, to bring him back home?
The reason for this is it seems like the more you give him, the more he rises to that occasion and the better player he becomes. I personally wouldn't give Draymond Green that much money. Draymond Green is a player who is seated perfectly in a system that works for his skill set, and he's got surrounding players around him with Klay Thompson and
Steph Curry, who sit there and are able to open up large holes for him to either get good looks at the basket or to sit there and get a favorable matchup where he can either lay the ball up and in or he can sit there and dish the ball out. So I just think he's kind of a product of that system over there. And I wouldn't go out and I wouldn't sit there and give him money like that. It reminds me a lot of the Ben Gordon deal. When the Pistons went out and they picked up Ben Gordon was coming off a great 2 seasons in Chicago. And you brought him here. He didn't fit. It didn't work. And you end up giving that guy a buttload of money, and you got to turn around and now you got to trade him, and you got to eat some of that cash. And that hindered your organization. That put you behind the 8-ball. So I wouldn't go do it. I just see Ben Gordon all over again. I disagree with you. I think that this is a guy.
Of course you would.
No,
because he's your Michigan State brethren.
No, I do agree with you that unfortunately he's probably not worth it, but you still do it to change the culture here in town. This is a team that is struggling with an identity.
But if you're not going to get the production, why?
I disagree that you won't get the production. This is a guy that's a hard worker. He's not going to just come in and take money. He's going to work hard, and he's a guy that's going to keep getting better.
Who do you have around him that even, if you were to put him on the Pistons, who do you have around him that even closely resembles Klay Thompson or Steph Curry? Reggie Jackson doesn't.
No.
And who else? Who do you got?
No, we're not going to match up lineups between the Golden State and the Pistons. The Pistons got a lot of work to do to rebuild. But Reggie Jackson has the potential to be a guy that gets 20 points a night. He can dish. You got Andre Drummond, who is going to be a guy that, with increased effort and his continued growth, can be a guy that's a double-double guy. And then you add another energy guy in Draymond Green. Now you've got 3 of the 5 starters that you need. And you just now look in the draft and free agency to surround them with more talent. But I understand that there probably are better pieces out there in free agency, but I don't think that if you were to give him max money that you would regret it. He may not live exactly up to the, quote unquote, 25 points, 10 rebounds every single night. He's not LeBron. He can be very serviceable, and he can put some butts in the seats.
I think you bring him here and you start putting your best defender on him or your second best defender on him. His stats go in the toilet, and his stat line just looks different. And it's not so much that he's a bad player. I just think he has more help where he's at right now. I think he fits that system much better. And I just think that you are not going to get the same production, and you're not going to get the value for the dollar that you're going to be paying him. I just wouldn't do it. I think there's cheaper and much better players who fit a much better role on this team going forward than Draymond Green would.
All right, Sparty fans. According to the Jock, no Dre back at the Palace.
SVG may surprise us. He might go out there and just back a Brinks truck up and give it to him. I just don't see it working.
Great responses. Always a good segment. And Jock Jams, you brought the noise. Great stuff, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Detroit Sports Podcast.com, Doc and Jock, episode 89. We will return after this break and after we give a little love to our sponsors, because there are people out there who are looking and listening to this great podcast and are going, yes, I want to sponsor that podcast. All you got to do is go to DetroitSportsPodcast.com, and one of our sponsors, Sport Displays, did just that. Sport Displays are a company that really came up with a simple idea. What's an easy way to hang a jersey on the wall or on any surface in an easy way? Simple. They came up with the Sport Display jersey mounts. They are the easiest and most affordable way to proudly show off your favorite jersey, uniform, sweater, t-shirt, or costume. All you got to do is go to jerseymount.com. That's jerseymount.com. With its unique design, their jersey mounts are the only hangers on the market that can be mounted to any surface. They can be mounted to glass, plastic, cement, signs, trade show caging, cars, windows, anything at all. Any surface at all that you want to mount your jerseys to, you can use this simple device. The jersey mount. It's really great. If you got a Draymond Green you wanna show off, hang it up on your wall. Now, people will say, okay, does it allow me to take it off and on if I want to wear it to a game? Really simple design. You can just unsnap the hook, take off your jersey, wear it, enjoy the game, enjoy your evening, come back home and remount it.
But does it look great on my walls?
Yes, it looks great. Check out our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Check out the pictures at our sponsor page, and you can see great pictures, and you can see how simple and easy it is. Even a guy like me who has no ability and is not handy at all. Mount, snap, hang, just like that for $20. That's jerseymount.com. Hang your favorite jersey on the wall. You won't regret it. Great company, great product. jerseymount.com. Definitely check out the guys at the Detroit Sports Nation, DetroitSportsNation.com. Great website. They are unbelievable. They are killing it on Facebook. Give them a like at their Facebook page, Detroit Sports Nation, and definitely check out their website, DetroitSportsNation.com. Our collaboration with them has been excellent, and they continue to be a strong presence here on the podcast because they bring the noise and they have great content. So thank you guys again. We can't thank you enough.
You're the future of our business, and I know when you guys have a podcast like this, our future is in good hands.
You got to check out their stuff. I mean, I'm really impressed by it. You guys have probably one of the better ones I've seen in the country.
Wow.
In a short period of time, you've done good work. Look at me kissing your hand.
I know.
Because earlier in the week, it happened. You know, amongst the great day on Tuesday, you had the Tigers, you had the Red Wings. The NFL stuck their nose in a little bit and said, hey, we need some attention too. So they released the NFL schedule. And when it first came out, my eyes were like bugging out. I was like, no, this is not the Lions schedule. This is a dream. This is a nightmare. This cannot be the schedule that the Lions are facing. And first of all, did the Lions pay someone or something to get all these primetime games? My God, 6 times we are going to be probably exposed to the national country. 6 times. I was like, what the hell? Who the hell came up with this kind of schedule? 2 Monday night games, a Thursday game, a Thanksgiving game. We're going to London. Oh my God, let alone not even looking at the teams. We're remiss. You know, of course, Doc and Jock are going to go through and give our predictions just based off of this schedule. But the first talking point of the Lions schedule is, who the hell thought that these Lions need to be on national television all this much? My God, man. Okay, we lost our best player. You know, by all accounts, you know, if you look at the roster, it isn't that good. And Martin Mayhew was not going to draft a world-class player if you just go by history. Damn, man, we're going to be exposed again.
Dude, this looks bad, dude. This looks real bad. You got to realize they have a ton of holes on this team to fill, whether it be on the offensive line, the defensive line. You know, there's talk about what's going to happen in that backfield because right now all you really have is Joique Bell and you got Theo Riddick, and I feel like Theo Riddick still has a bunch of question marks by him because you don't know what exactly he is. You have no left guard on this roster after recent releases and different things that have gone on during the offseason here. And then on the defensive line, you're missing probably and arguably the best defensive tackle in the game because he's now playing for another team wearing teal and orange down in Miami.
And of course, he showed up for the first day of OTAs.
Oh, of course. But you couldn't get him here at all when he was wearing Honolulu blue and silver.
Disrespectful.
Oh,
straight up.
God, dude, this is going to be brutal, man. The only thing I can say that's positive about the schedule is their bye week falls during week 9. So they get to play half the season, and then we can kind of figure it out for a week, and then we get to come back for the rest of the half season. But we did get a ton of primetime games, which, like you said, I don't know why. I don't know why everybody's going to get to see our flaws, man. It's like, seriously, it's like going to prom, and you've got that giant zit on the side of your head, and you're trying all the cover up in your sister's makeup bag to cover it up, but nothing's going to cover that thing up. Everybody's going to see it, bro.
You know what? A thought popped in my mind. Now, this is a far-fetched reach. This is like really speculating, and this is because I'm crazy, and I'm just now thought about it. The Lions got royally screwed and shit on in the Dallas game. You think they go to the NFL and go, listen, you screwed us, and you know it, and, you know, some of our dollars are not going to go into your coffers if you don't right this ship. And the NFL was like, listen, okay, fine. We'll just give you some more primetime coverage, some more some more games in primetime to showcase the Lions and advertising and DetroitLions.com and Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson. We're going to hype them up nationally. We'll do that for you to make up for that awful call. That had to be what happened. I mean, there is no reason.
Dude, it's the NFL. Would it surprise you?
Yeah, the NFL's like, okay, we're sorry. Don't pull your dollars. Could you at least given us one at home? Jesus Christ, man, we got to play at Seattle, at New Orleans on Monday night. I mean, after a great week of football, we might, obviously that game against Seattle maybe is a chance. It's our coming out party. Maybe Matthew Stafford rolls up into. I'm going to start laughing as I say this. Maybe he rolls up into Seattle, plays a great game versus Russell Wilson, and we beat him.
Yeah.
No,
come on.
That's not going to happen.
Dude, they got Jimmy Graham out there now. And that team, they got beast mode. Come on, dude. That's a squad that's just brewing to be unleashed right now.
Look at that storyline. Jimmy Graham has like 3 touchdowns, and Ebron, 1 catch, 4 yards, and some drop balls. Oh, man, the storylines. But listen, are we being pessimistic? Because, of course, the schedule came out. Some people said 8-8. Ryan Field, who I love watching on Fox Sports 1, said 10-6. Theo Gridiron Spite, who is the Detroit Lions fight song singer, who's been on this podcast, says, he looks at it and goes 10-6. And, I want to give a shout out to Justin Rose, friend of the podcast. He said, the best way to put it is this season is going to be, quote unquote, incredibly challenging as a way to handle that schedule. And he has them at 8-8. So I really like the way he put it, in a professional manner. It's going to be, quote unquote, incredibly challenging. But I'm not sitting here trying to be professional. I looked at it right away and said, holy shit, dude.
Is there a professional bone in your body?
No, hell no. I looked at it and I said, damn, 4 wins. That was my initial reaction. Okay, then I started breaking it down. I let my emotion. That was just my post-traumatic stress with the Lions kicking in there. I said, okay, 4 wins. And then I started looking at it and I said, okay.
Dude, let's go through this game by game, all right? Yeah. I'm gonna keep track. Okay. All right, because I've got a little printout here. I got the little schedule in my hands here. So let's go through this game by game. All right.
All right. Potentially versus San Diego, Phillip Rivers might be traded to Tennessee. That's a strong possibility, strong rumor.
Well, let's put it this way. All right, we can change our predictions based on the draft and based on whatever happens after that. Because
this is the way too early prediction that we all do.
Exactly,
dude. As the radio stations all do it. We all do it. Hey, I'm not trying to say this is going to be the truth and gospel and follow it. This is just our initial reaction looking at the schedule.
I mean, after next Thursday, this whole thing could just be set on fire because we're going to have trades that'll be made on draft day. The Lions might actually draft something that's useful, not Eric Ebron-esque. So this could all change. This could all totally change. So let's just way too early predictions. Way too early predictions.
All right, so we're starting off versus San Diego. It's a tough matchup, but we do have, a chance to play well in a warm weather environment. I have this as a loss. Just first game I have for San Diego as a loss. It's going to be tough. Phillip Rivers plays usually well at home if he's on the team, so I have the first game as a loss.
All right, this game's a little bit difficult for me. They're on the road, which they have a horrible time when they go out west, right? But it is San Diego. There seems to be some turbulence in that locker room and everything that's going on over there in San Diego. On top of that, Phillip Rivers only really seems to play extremely well when it's a late night primetime game for their opening series. So I'm kind of on the fence. But history tells me that I have to put this as a loss as well because they just don't win on the West Coast usually unless it's Oakland. That's the only time. So I'm going to put it as an L too.
Now, second week, they regroup. They go to Minnesota. I just think that the Lions have more talent than Minnesota. I think they can play well. I think Teddy Bridgewater is a developing player, but is a guy that could struggle. We don't know. There's a question mark. Will Adrian Peterson even be on the team? Will he be on the roster? So I have that as a win, being 1-1 after week 2.
Ooh. See, I think Adrian Peterson, because it's the way too early. I mean, Adrian Peterson might not be there, but Phillip Rivers might not be there either. So if you're going to use that logic, he's still there. Adrian Peterson, you get another year of Teddy Bridgewater. Maybe they surround him with a receiver or two. And the Lions just eked out a win last year out there in Minnesota. I'm going to go loss here too.
Now, I think we can agree on the third game. It's going to be the home opener, primetime Denver on NBC. Well, okay, it's a primetime game at home.
And you got an aging Peyton Manning.
Oh, he'll dissect this defense pretty quickly.
He doesn't have Julius Thomas.
Oh, that's okay. I do believe that...
They do have like 17 no-name running backs, though. That can just put up hundreds of yards.
I don't know. I have a good feeling with Denver's offense. They usually play well. So I have it in my first reaction when I saw Denver's loss.
All right. I'm going to stick with you. Even though Peyton Manning will be wheeled out there in a wheelchair and he has a colostomy bag on, I think him and his bionic wheels on that wheelchair will still do some damage to these Lions. And you got Demaryius Thomas still out there wide. And like I said, you got 17 running backs with no name who can still sit there and gash you for 100 yards per game. So I'm going to put that as an L.
No real dissection needed. They go out to Seattle, they get blown out. Simple, loss.
Agreed. Nobody wins in Seattle.
Okay, now the season starts to turn around a little bit. It gets, we get through the first 4 games. It's a struggle. A lot of the games are on the road. Now we come home to Arizona. I think we regroup. I think we play well, and I think we get a W, Arizona.
I think we learned from last year. Even though we don't have Ndamukong Suh and our defense isn't as staunch as it was last year, I still think this is where, on my sheet, the Lions get their first W.
Okay. Now, Chicago's a train wreck. As long as they have Jay Cutler, we're coming off of a season where we beat Chicago twice in a row. I think that streak continues. I don't think they've gotten any better. I think that Brandon Marshall left, and you still got Jay Cutler.
Traded,
yeah, he's a turnover machine, so I have them winning 2 games in a row.
Oh, yeah. Captain Diabetes has no chance here. None whatsoever. The guy's going to have a sugar reaction somewhere right around the 30-yard line. I got the Lions winning this one.
Home game versus Minnesota. It's going to be an interesting game, with two, sometimes the Lions do not handle success very well, but coming off of 2 straight games of playing well, I do have them beating Minnesota. W.
I'm right there with you. The Lions are a different team when they play Minnesota at home. I don't know why, but whenever they go up to Minnesota, they look completely different than when they play them at home. By that logic, they get a W at home, whereas they take the loss in Minnesota.
You go out to London, you play Kansas City. Last year, they started incredibly slow in London, and they required a miracle comeback, I think, versus Atlanta. They came away with a victory, a hard-fought victory. But versus Kansas City, I just think the coaching matchup favors Kansas City, so I have them losing.
Yeah, I think you're right. Kansas City has a better coaching staff overall. They have still an elite running back with Jamal Charles. They don't have a receiver worth a damn out there, but that's okay. So I think Jamal Charles, I think Alex Smith, and the guy who looks like a giant mustached walrus beat the Lions in London.
Until the Lions actually show us they can win in Green Bay, and again, maybe the NFL said, hey, I know we've been giving you Green Bay at the end of the season. I know you've been freezing your asses off. We'll give you Green Bay slightly earlier on the road first. That's usually a breaking cycle. Yeah. Usually the Lions at home, then Green Bay.
Yeah, totally different there.
So now we open up at Green Bay, and I got that still being a loss until they can prove me wrong.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's the thing. We get them early in November. It'll probably be the coldest November that we've ever had in all of history, because the Lions are going to go to Green Bay and it's going to be freaking the Ice Bowl all over again. It'll be like negative 35 and they'll be playing in mounds and mounds of snow. And if you remember what LaShawn McCoy did a few years ago with mounds and mounds of snow, expect the same thing to happen with Eddie Lacy.
Now, we get to Oakland. We got a great matchup, and I do think that at this point in time, the Lions are going to play a great game versus Oakland. I think we just have much more talent than Oakland. Oakland's a team that for years and years is struggling. So at the 10-game mark, I have the Lions winning this game, finishing up at 5-5 at the 10-game mark.
Yeah, I got them picking up a W against Oakland. Oakland's got to come here. This is a battle of the 2 retarded kids in class. One's in a wheelchair, hey, Timmy, and the other one is the guy who's got the little arm stints. It's just a battle of inept teams here. So I think the Lions beat Oakland.
Yeah, when the schedule came out, I circled the Philadelphia game, Thanksgiving. That's going to be the watershed game that determines whether we have success or failure. I don't know how to call it because it's going to be an evenly matched kind of game. It's going to be a lot of offense.
This will tell us if we make it to the playoffs or not.
This game or not. This game right here.
All right.
Win or lose. If we lose Thanksgiving versus Philadelphia, I think the season collapses and we have a big struggle. But if we can get some momentum, we can turn the corner. I don't know. This is going to be a tough matchup. I know Vinny Stubbs, the co-host of the Motor City Sports Rant every Monday on DetroitSportsPodcast.com. He'll be sporting his Tim Tebow jersey. Now, the worst-case scenario, Tim Tebow starting, rolls up into Thanksgiving with all the national hype and embarrasses the Lions. That would probably be the icing on the cake for Lions fans, is if Tim Tebow makes the team, beats all odds after 3 years away as being an SEC commentator, comes into our house on Thanksgiving and ruins our season. Now that would be something to talk about. But I'm just going to be optimistic, and I'm just going to put it as a W. We've played pretty well last couple of years, and I think we're going to be wanting to showcase our talents on the national stage. So I got W versus Philly.
I have no clue what Chip Kelly's doing over there in Philadelphia. I've got no idea. It's like he's forming his own version of Tecmo Super Bowl, and he's just trying to run all these guys out there and do things like he used to do in college, which is great for the pace of the game, but you still need to do it with professional athletes and NFL players because they're bigger, they're faster, and they're 10 times stronger. I don't know what Tim Tebow is going to give you. I don't know what any of these, is Sam Bradford going to be healthy enough to sit there and make it to week 2 of the season? I mean, that guy is like a pretzel. He just crumbles. I got the Lions winning this game just because I don't believe in Chip Kelly anymore. I used to think Chip Kelly was the greatest thing to ever happen to coaches just because he was different, he was innovative, and it was awesome to see this guy try to work and do what he wants to do. Now I have no idea what the hell he's doing over there. So I got the Lions winning.
Okay, next week then, you got Green Bay Thursday night, December 3rd. I got that as a loss.
Oh, yeah. Big L.
Bingo. I just think Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, you give them an edge. We did beat them last year early on. We had Ndamukong Suh, who obviously played a great game. Mm-hmm. And without him, Aaron Rodgers is like salivating, like dink, 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 pick apart the Lions defense, and that'll be a loss. Then we go on to St. Louis. I assume you have that being a loss as well.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. No brainer.
I think Nick Fairley gets his revenge. It's what it boils down to.
St. Louis, yeah. I just think that Jeff Fisher is a quality coach. They are rebuilding. Of course, they're building on the lines, offensive and defensive lines. Loss. And then we go on Monday night versus New Orleans. Drew Brees came to town and was just praising Matthew Stafford. Oh, he's got the arm. Oh, he's so great. Oh, the Lions are going to not regret drafting Matthew Stafford. I just think he's going to dominate, and I think he's going to play well. It's going to be tough to keep up with New Orleans, so I have that as a loss on the road. Had that been a home game, I would have given the Lions a better chance. But on the road, Monday night, primetime, loss.
I think you get to see what that offense is supposed to look like, not what it actually is, and it's a loss.
And then we play Sunday, December 27th, 1 p.m. at home versus San Francisco, a team that's looking like they're rebuilding. They've lost, Jesus and Jim Harbaugh. He's now coaching at Michigan. So without Jesus, I have San Francisco does not have Jesus. So I have the Lions going out and playing well at home, beating San Francisco.
Yeah, you think the Lions have had a bad offseason? Look at the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, they hired a coach where most of the fans were like, who? Who'd we get? On top of it, you sit there, you end up completely changing that backfield around. Now you got Reggie Bush in there. It's just, it's a mess out there. It really is. They don't really have any receivers. You really don't know what Colin Kaepernick's going to give you. I think the Lions win this game.
And to round out the season, we go to Chicago. We play well there. I mean, it could be a similar type situation as in the past versus Green Bay where we don't play well in a cold weather situation. As long as the Bears have Jay Cutler, I will always root for the Lions and actually give them a W. So, rah, 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 I have the Lions. In my first initial go-through of the schedule, finishing the season 8-8. Not 4 wins, not 10 wins, right dab in the middle. They win as many as they lose. 8-8, and it's going to be a trying season because 3 of 4 on the road to start this season, 3 or 4 on the road to end the season. I don't think this is going to be a playoff team. I just think that it's going to be one of those situations where we take a step back, continue to build through the draft, and really evaluate Jim Caldwell and how he handles a turbulent season. 8-8.
Yeah, I don't like any of the moves that this team has made during the offseason. I don't think they've made themselves stronger. I think they're 10 times weaker. I still think they get a win over Chicago in Chicago just because you're paying Jay Cutler all that money. He's going to start for you. You don't have a backup who's going to push him unless you draft, I don't know, maybe a guy like Jameis Winston or somebody else who's supposed to be a miracle worker. I don't know. But I got the Lions finishing 7-9, and unless something crazy happens during the draft next week, I think they're going to be a team that's going to be sitting at home come early January watching everybody else play in the playoffs.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I just think that's just when it came out, what a shock. And I don't think anybody who really looks at the Lions objectively is going to say, okay, 10 wins. I mean, we could be wrong. No one thought that they would win 11. It's just from the eye test, from the talent standpoint, and from the schedule and how the way the schedule is going to shake out. They're going to have to win a lot of games in that middle portion of the season. If you want to do it, then you're going to have to beat Denver. You're going to have to beat Seattle. Let's go out there and show what we can do and show maybe Terrell Austin is the real deal, and he even cements himself further. We are not, like I said, this is the way too early prediction. Adam and I are huge Lions fans. We want them to do well. We just know that, we've seen single seasons where they played well, and then they've fallen off. Do it consistently. You will earn our respect. Do it again. 11-5, okay, do it again and actually win in the playoffs. Matthew Stafford's newly married. Maybe this will, having his wife by his side day after day after day will make him a better man and a better quarterback. We shall see. Great talk though. I knew right away when it came out. I'm like, oh yeah, we gotta switch up and talk about that right away.
Oh yeah, we'll fit that in all day long. Dude, we love the Lions.
Yeah.
We got to do a little draft preview next week.
Next week we'll do a draft preview. See if we can get some one of the Lions beat reporters on and maybe one of the play-by-play guys. We'll sprinkle. We'll make some calls and see what's going on and see if anyone calls us back. Hey, this is Doc and Jock.
Why?
We'll see if anyone calls me back next week. Great podcast, episode 89 in the books. For the Jock, Adam Strozinski, I am the Doc, John Macaroon. Thank you again for your support. Thank you for downloading this podcast, the Doc and Jock podcast. Visit our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com.
Go Wings, go Tigers.
I have voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me.